exhausted. I'm scared out of my mind.
This is convention
Colin
horror
is
stories.
Trying to hook up with one of the guys because that's the kind of guy he is. I waste no time in falling asleep on the first hard surface I find, which happens to be a hardback ornate chair that they probably lifted out of a garage sale. I find out later that my buddy Colin waited for everybody else to fall asleep before he fell asleep, which was probably the smarter thing to do. We wake up at like 8 in the morning. We see their father standing there in boxers, scratching himself. And we all decide just to get the hell out of there as fast as possible. And the next night, we stayed up in the convention center and ate Jolt Gum and watched Burst Angel. And it was a much better night.
I'm glad
the operators clap.
It's probably kind of a token story for a lot of us, but something needs to be said. A couple years ago, I decided to go to an anime convention without pre-registering or anything.
Which con?
I'm kidding.
Okay.
And it was on that note, Anime Boston 2008.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah, I was saving that for a little later, but I don't think. That be told, we all experienced that one.
You turn your head.
I cut in the line twice. I was in the line for 6 hours with my best friend who whines, and it was her birthday.
Oh.
You know, when you get this on your badge, you get to skip all those lines. I didn't. Yeah.
Plus, it's cheaper.
It's not cheaper. It's free.
Yeah.
So I work for ToonZone.net. So I was one of their reporters, and you know, when you get one of those, you get to skip the registration line and the event lines and all that shit. So when everyone else was stuck in line for 8 hours that day, just kind of go, that line, where's that line end? It's still going. It's still going. Is that going out into the mall? Anyway, next.
Yep. Well, I've been to a lot of conventions, and I have experienced tons and tons and tons of horror stories. But you guys are familiar with, you know, those really obnoxious fangirls, like really obnoxious, right?
Yep.
Well, I've witnessed the worst of the worst, and this was actually my first convention when I was actually sort of not like her, but like I was one of those annoying fangirls. I'm not gonna, and she did not. I am not gonna mention her name, but when I first met her, she was a Gara girl. She screamed a lot. I was, you know, a little bit stupid, and like it was my first convention, so I was like, oh look, here's a Naruto character, here's a Naruto character, here's a Naruto character. Yeah, she was very, you know, she was very hyper and everything. The second I met her was at Icon in Stony Brook University. It was actually last week. And I saw her, and she's in this very, very skimpy outfit, like up to here. And
We could talk about a panel yesterday.
she has a free hug sign, turns around, free rape. Free rape.
This is why we can't have signs anymore. In part because you put free anything on a sign, it's technically prostitution.
Exactly. And in
Technically, it
speaking,
actually is.
speaking of prostitution, next icon I saw her. She writes on her boobs, free hug, and she writes a sign because she wants fang teeth because they're selling like fangs, like I mean real fangs, like stuck into your teeth. She has a sign, grope me for $1.
Yeah.
Grope me for $1, and I was like,
I will guarantee that sign got confiscated real quick.
yeah. I was 15 at the time, it was last year, and she was 15 at the time.
Oh goody,
16.
jail days.
16, New York Anime Festival, 2009. Oh, what was that? I'm a Soul Eater fan, by the way, so it was paradise for me. Yeah. At New York Anime Festival, I saw her, but I was way past like the very annoying person phase. I'm still a little bit annoying, but I'm not that annoying anymore.
Look at this.
I saw her. I was waiting on the Soul Eater line for the Soul Eater panel, and so I see her.
What is that person doing?
I just see her screaming. I heard that scream. It was like ah! And I was like, oh god, oh god. I asked the people next to me to cover me up, like so she couldn't see me because. Like she just, she doesn't have convention etiquette whatsoever. She glomps everyone without warning people. And
No, that's called sexual assault.
yeah, exactly. And so I see her, and I just asked people, please cover me, please don't let her see me. My friend, she dressed up as Edward Elric, and unfortunately, she had to experience her. She comes up to me, she's like, "Why didn't you warn me about her?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry." Yeah. So, the moral of the story is you can be crazy, but don't go that crazy. Yeah.
Excuse the dress, I came back from a party.
It's fine. More the merrier.
Alright, to fully understand my second con, you need to briefly hear my experiences of my first. The first time I went to an anime convention was Anime Boston 2005. I knew nothing about anime except FMA was cool and DBZ was awesome.
My first Anime Boston. First time here in this building too. That was a pretty good year.
Yeah, it was a good year. And I guess basically what happened was I didn't really know much about anime. I said, hey, I should go to this convention. And someone, my sister recommended, hey, why don't you dress up? And I was like, no one's dressing up. That's lame. Why would you dress up to this thing? So I put on a funny hat and I came. And everyone at the convention was dressed up. And that's how naive I was. Now carry that into the next convention I went to, which was the first ever AAC, 2005. I was young and impressionable. And being the young impressionable guy I was, I went there with a lot of friends. And actually dressed up that time as Alphonse from the movie, but that's unrelated. And I went up, and a friend of mine said, hey, you gotta go meet this cool guy. I'm his pet right now. Which should have been my first indication to not meet this cool guy.
Yeah. No, the leash is not cool.
Alright,
not cool.
My friend says, hey, you gotta meet this guy. We call him Sasquatch. Now, I'm like, that sounds cool. So I follow her for a while, and I turn a corner, and I see this guy. In my memory, he's 7 feet tall. He's also overweight, in a tank top, and a skirt, and a pink wig, and he's giving out Smarties. And he's like, and he turned, and I assumed that this large, fat, hairy man must have been someone else. Any Sasquatch would not be at this con as this man. Not only was the Sasquatch at that con that man, he was the creepiest man I've ever met. Turned to me immediately, said, hey, you want some candy? And turned to me with...
That's definitely not Jan. Jan has much better taste in clothing than that.
He turned to me, yeah. That was probably the most frightening thing I've ever done at a convention. Easily. That was just the second con I ever went to, which was nutty.
Wow. Well, welcome to the insanity. No.